What's going on, Workforce? This is a really great day, and I think this is probably one of the most fun videos that I've been able to make in a long time. And if you guys haven't seen or don't know or haven't heard of SkillUp or follow him or anything like that, after 362 hours, he has finally finished Shadowbringers. And why this is really important and why this is really exciting to see, and also leads into a little bit of a discussion. And again, like always, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below about everything we're about to talk about, is it shows an immense amount of respect that SkillUp has for the games that he plays and Final Fantasy XIV and Final Fantasy's community overall. So he writes, after 362 hours, I have just finished the final quest in the latest 14 expansion, Shadowbringers. I really can't fully describe what an incredible experience it was, but all I can say for now is that it reminded me of why I fell in love with Final Fantasy all those years ago. SkillUp happens to be one of my favorite video game reviewers in a long time, and he's probably, I would say, the premier video game reviewer on YouTube. I'm biased, and also at the same time, we don't always agree. But what I really appreciate about his reviews is not only does he take the time and spend it with the games himself, but at the same time is he's able to communicate how he comes to the feeling and conclusions that he does, and he brings in real world stories as a lot of visuals, and just he really knocks it out of the park. And on that note, we actually have SkillUp coming on the podcast here in September. We're very excited to have him and talk about Final Fantasy XIV and who knows what else, probably video game reviews and kind of how he kind of went into the direction that he went with his long form reviews. Like I said, if you haven't heard of him, if I'm introducing you to him, be sure to go check out his channel. He talks a lot and does a lot of hard work on these reviews, but they're not short reviews. And that's something that I really have always appreciated about him. They're not adhering to this kind of quick mindset, this got to get the review out. It's, and it ends up being a really good contrast to what's out there, especially as it relates to kind of what we would consider the mainstream gaming news media, who's under very tight deadlines and is just trying to get the review out. And so that amount of respect that he puts into it is interesting. Again, we don't always, are going to agree. No one actually will 100% always kind of agree to the conclusions, but he articulates it in such a which way that I can understand. So it's not like he's just kind of putting a label because that's the popular thing to say or the popular thing, or just like, okay, that's the quick and easy way to just, describe something and move on. Like, he really wants to understand it. And the bulk of this conversation on this is that 362 hours, that's a lot. That's a lot, and we're in 5.0. And that's really where I want to get y'all's thoughts on the topic at hand, because that's like 24 hours straight, more than 15 days of game time, and no human is capable of that. But what about 6.0? What about 7.0? Honestly, my hope is that New Game Plus can kind of help take and alleviate some of this. I don't like the concept of the jump potion, but I understand why it exists. And I'm not going to sit here and say that people should use jump potions. The fact that he didn't, the fact that he wanted to get the full context, I think is going to make his review the most interesting for me to watch and enjoy. But when you think about it, 362 hours, that's a lot, no matter which way you slice it and how you break that up. And we recently had a video talking about a Realm Remade. Would you want to see like ARR remastered? And one of the things that we know, and you might not have heard of yet, is that they're talking about with patch 5.3 doing some adjustments to ARR to kind of help people get through that story much easier. Now, personally, I want to say that I hope they don't take those quests out of the game. I hope they maybe just move them over into kind of a side quest category, thus kind of streamlining kind of the flow, hitting the main beats that you want to hit within the ARR story. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out, and hopefully it ends up being a boon for everybody, because one of the things we do see a lot in our comments, especially our getting started guide, is a lot of people are hitting those walls, and that's really unfortunate because there is such this great masterpiece that you have to kind of overcome, and that's why one of the things is like I was really interested, and I'm really excited to see what SkillUp says about it, having lived through it. It's gonna weigh in on him as somebody who has not been constantly keeping up with it. Now, I might just be like a fan of Final Fantasy, or maybe a super fan. I'll let you guys decide. Having played this game for nearly 10 years, it's truly like something that I've really appreciated the experience, and the ups and downs. And it's something that I have a lot of fond memories of as just this like longtime player of it. But then I'm looking at all these new players that are coming in and trying to help them out because I want them to experience what I've had the opportunity to experience time and time again with both my friends, with this community, with my family. It's truly fantastic. Now, overall on the Realm Remade video, the majority, the overwhelming majority, feels like they really want Square Enix to obviously invest in the new things. I think new quests, new story, new gameplay elements, and I think that is natural and that makes a lot of sense. And so ultimately, the thought here and what I want to know, like, because I wish I had the solution. I'm hoping New Game Plus kind of helps out. I'm hoping with that, maybe that gives them the opportunity to start bundling in a jump potion and a story skip potion with the game itself, because then you can kind of New Game Plus it and go and experience all of that if you want to. It kind of experience it at a high level while at the same time kind of catching up. I'd love to know y'all's thoughts on that. Like, should they bundle it, a jump potion with the game, once, New Game Plus is out. But then at the same time, like when you think 6.0 and 7.0, it's one of two things. It's, if you ever have thought about checking out this game, start today, because by the time 6.0 rolls around, and if they knock it out of the park, like they knock Shadowbringers out of the park, like, you're going to want to be ready. You're going to want to be on top of that. And 362 hours is only going to increase when you tack on the new expansion and all the expanded content that we're going to get over the course of the 5X series. It's truly, it's going to be really cool to see what happens in the end. All right, so that's just the concern I have. I don't have a solution because we've kind of talked about it. Like, is at some point, like, the story of Final Fantasy XIV will conclude. They can always do expanded stuff. We saw them support Final Fantasy XI and still do Final Fantasy XI stuff, which is really exciting to see. But at some point you're like, okay, like, is there, and what will end up coming up next? Regardless of it, I think one of the best things that Final Fantasy XIV has going for it right now is the sense of wonder. There's a real big sense of wonder. What in the heck is going to be happening soon after this? But I'll leave it there on that note. Again, just want to say thanks to SkillUp for taking the time and putting in a lot of attention to this game. What's going to be really cool to see is that obviously there's a lot of games that are coming up. We've got Borderlands 3 that's going to be dropping soon. Destiny is going to be dropping soon. And so by the time we get to go and play all those games around 5.1, we're going to see obviously a real increase, in what the story is going to go to. So it's going to be a really fun fall. I'm very excited. Hopefully you guys are enjoying Shadowbringers as much as I have been enjoying it, as well as this community, and the overall just the positive reception of the game is just really exciting to see, especially as somebody who's been here for so long. And just, yeah, I'm glad everybody's having a good time with it. Anyway, obviously we'll have to see what solution they end up coming with as the game goes into 6.0 and 7.0 and 8.0 and beyond, to the moon. To the moon. All right, love you guys very much. Thanks for hanging out in this video. I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.